It had been on the ballot twice before. Third time lucky, anyone? Not so for the Missouri tobacco tax. Efforts to raise Missouri's lowest in the nation cigarette tax failed on election night by the slimmest of margins. Tuesday's vote was 50.8% against. By the way, in 2002, the vote was 51% against it. In 2006, it was 52%. Pouring through the election results and exit polling data, do we get any clues as to what voters were thinking on this issue? Was it simply no tax increase, or was it that they don't think the money was really going to be spent on schools as backers claimed?
I think that was probably one of the big things. As we recall, back in the 80s, when Missouri got Powerball and the lottery and everything, we were told that the money was going to be earmarked for education. Well, it turns out that it went into the general fund, and that put a very bitter taste in a lot of people's mouth, and it did resurface in this campaign. And this is an issue on which Governor Jay Nixon remained largely silent. There really wasn't a strong political will, I think, to get out ahead of this.
Some people are blaming Governor Jay Nixon this week for that.
We had a conversation, Steve and I, yesterday with George Connor, who's a political science professor at Missouri State in Springfield, southwest Missouri. He said that the convenience stores in that part of the country put up signs 6 months ago that said, vote against a 760% tax increase. They didn't say it was on tobacco, just vote no on B, a 760% tax increase. And I do think that message got through. Missouri remains resistant, to put it mildly, to tax hikes, which Jay Nixon, of course, made a centerpiece of his campaign. So it's not a surprise that he didn't get involved. But I do think that part of the problem in Missouri is that Missourians, by and large, like being a low-tax state, no matter where the taxes come from.
That's not a problem at all.
No,
but problem for people who support state spending.
The radio ads in this campaign also were trying to link this to Obamacare, as they said in the radio ad, Steve, and that some of this money might go to Obamacare.
Yeah.
That had an effect in this campaign as well?
Absolutely. Obamacare is sort of the boogeyman for every Republican issue that folks didn't like from that side of the aisle. That's a very convenient excuse. You know, Dave's so right about this notion of Missouri being a low-tax state. It's sort of a cultural thing in this state. When Democrats ruled the General Assembly, Democratic governors, the state was low tax. It remains so today. Missourians just don't want to raise them.
Now, the head of the opponents organization in this, the Missouri Petroleum Marketers and Convenience Store Association, said, no, we didn't want this going up from 17 to 90 cents a pack, which was the ballot issue, but we could support now a doubling of the tax from 17 to, say, 34 cents a pack. But would the legislature go along with that in a new session of the legislature? I mean, this is still going to be a very overwhelmingly Republican Missouri legislature coming up.
I don't know why you seek to negotiate immediately after a victory. It seems to me the people have spoken. It's settled. What legislator is going to want to take this up in contrary view to what the people said?
The General Assembly, 110 of the 163 members Republicans. It's more conservative than ever. I doubt any move on a tax increase.
Well, we'll track more Missouri races in just a moment, but first let's head on over to Kansas, where there were no senators or governors on the ballot, no big questions being decided. In fact, only a boat tax cut, the only statewide issue. That passed, though. How does that now change life for people in Kansas, Steve Kraske?
Well, not by a whole lot. I don't know anybody who owns a boat in Kansas, but for those who do, they may see a tax decrease coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, the party's on at Lake Perry. They're popping the beers already. I do think that the bigger story in Kansas, of course, is the rightward turn of the legislature. After redistricting, after all the wrestling, Kansas has now conservative majorities, strong majorities in both the House and the Senate to help Sam Brown back. The coming session will be phenomenal, Nick, and I'm sure we can talk about that.